In the beginning of August, IDK and JID teamed up to release a collaborative single, Serial. Over a beat backed by a looped alarm, the pair laid down hellish vocals and cold lyrics by using constant juxtapositions and wordplay to relate serial and serial murder. IDK and JID are not the only artists who had a chance to participate in this peak wordplay though, as the third player, Atlanta rapper Kenny Mason, also laid down a verse. He pens his share of serial and serial killing bars, but he seamlessly detours to create a detailed narrative about a hypothetical but gruesome murder. In just 24 bars, Kenny proves himself to be a gifted rapper, and that stood out to myself and others, as this was his first collaboration with any major label artist. Prior to Serial, I had heard Kenny's name online, but I assumed he was just like any other rapper who was prophesized to blow up. But I was wrong, because I now believe he will live up to expectations. With just one project too, his album Angelic Hood Rat, my confidence is there. Before too much praise, let's start from his beginnings. For his musical beginnings, Kenny Mason began writing raps around age 12 after being fascinated by Lil Wayne. Kenny is 25 now, so that would have been around the time that Wayne was arguably at his peak, which makes it obvious why he idolized Wayne so much. At age 14, Mason watched a then 24-year-old Kid Cudi share in an interview that he dedicated his life to becoming a rapper at the age of 14, which caused Kenny to shift his then 2-year hobby into his life's dedication in the same way. To look forward, Kenny's early history is quite muddy because his releases are spread across many different Bandcamp and SoundCloud accounts. On a SoundCloud page under the name House 9, which is quote, a collection of Kenny's homies, all dedicated to personal betterment, unquote, were 3 intact projects, with these being TV Dinner, a 2014 collaborative mixtape with Clark Scott, The Super Tape, a 2016 collaborative mixtape with DVDX, and a 2016 mixtape by House 9 titled The Big 9 Theory, on which Mason sticks out as the best artist. On Bandcamp, I was able to find the companion mixtapes Freemason and Freemason 2, both released in 2015. The first of these, TV Dinner, is a super experimental and out there tape that showcases Mason and Scott trying their hand at a wide variety of musical lanes. It has its flaws and is definitionally amateurish, but it is still a really interesting listen. About the project, Mason said the following, quote, that was me trying to teach myself how to make beats for me and my homeboys, and figure out how to work autotune, how to record, and make art at the same time. It's the definition of experimental, unquote. The Freemason tape saw Kenny's production and vocals mature, but he definitely embodied the Atlanta sound of the time because his beats fit perfectly into that 2015 trap landscape, and some of his vocal inflections sound definitely Young Thug inspired. From Freemason 2, Stay Connected also seems wildly Drake influenced. A year later on the Super Tape with DVDX though, it was clear that Kenny's musical chops had seen major improvement. He went from figuring out quote, how to work autotune, unquote, into harnessing it as one of the centerpieces of many of his tracks, and expanding his vocal range to the point that he cemented himself as a gifted vocalist in my opinion. After these early mixtapes, it seems as though Mason spent 3 years releasing a long string of singles and loosies rather than full-length projects. Some of these efforts include a 3-track mixtape titled Avondale Angels released in early 2017, the tracks DS and For Real that were released as part of his Wireless Wednesdays, a plan to release a track every Wednesday for all of November and December 2017, and then finally, another 2017 tape titled Kenny Turns 22 that has since been wiped from streaming services, although some songs remain available. Across all of these, it became clear that Mason was working on his craft from behind the scenes and honing in on his pen game in anticipation of and in preparation for a debut album. This debut album would be Angelic Hood Rat, released on April 15th, 2020. Preceding the album would be 3 singles, beginning with the song Hit in October 2019, which was followed by its title track Angelic Hood Rat and Metal Wings. Of these, Hit comes across as the most important because it is rightfully named as it is Kenny's biggest song to date. Kenny pens his hunger to quote hit or quote make a few bands, unquote. The type of hunger for street success that Kenny is penning here seems to be a reflection of his hunger for success in the music industry. Months after these singles, Kenny would release Angelic Hood Rat to acclaim from the underground and his fans. While the project is a culmination of everything that Mason had been experimenting with since 2014, the elements of emo, metal, and punk that were combined with hip-hop that were layered across the album were highly celebrated. The hunger I mentioned that could be seen in Hit is all over this album. It is basically a tale of Mason trying to escape the hardships of his youth in Atlanta while maintaining his values of friends and family. On the subject of Atlanta, it should be noted that there is imagery and mention of Atlanta all over this album, whether that be the prominent Braves jersey seen in the Hit music video, or the constant bars about his Atlanta neighborhood of Pittsburgh. This thing is Atlanta-centric. Also, another primary theme of the album is the use of Kenny's dog in a variety of ways. Ultimately, this album is really great, with standout tracks for me being Chevron, Hit, and its title track. After Angelic Hood Rat, Kenny would be, as mentioned, a part of the killer track Serial. While this track has already been covered, it should be noted that JID has hinted that another collaboration is on the way. Since Serial, Kenny has been intermittently uploading Lucy tracks onto YouTube, with these including Storm and Give with Deontay Hitchcock, among others. The tracks are all relatively simplistic, in that they are usually Kenny spitting a verse or two backed by a low-key beat. That label is not to discount their quality though, because the lyrics are top tier in their creativity and are extremely intimate. They give a great insight into Mason's perspective on his past, current situation, and his position in hip-hop. Also, while not a Lucy, Mason uploaded a video reminiscent of a color show titled Strayza 1, in which he rapped some of his verses over the course of 8 minutes. For all these uploads, I really appreciate that in every video's comment section, Kenny's directly engaging with fans. I would usually discount a Lucy series like this, but the amount of care that Kenny's clearly putting into them merits this discussion and praise. From one of these Lucy's, Nightmare on Dill Street, Kenny Mason raps, quote, "Don't call me no new Kendrick, I'm trying to outdo Kendrick, all legends I respect, but challenges I accept," unquote. This hyperware bar by Mason basically sums up my opinion of him right now. While he's certainly up next, he has the potential to be more than just another up next rapper, but one of the greats of the next generation. While he's relatively unknown in the mainstream right now, the cosigns he is seeing are a surefire sign that he will be mainstream soon. From JID and IDK by Serial, Deontay Hitchcock, and recently Denzel Curry by his name being included alongside the Wu-Tang Clan on a notepad titled Features to Do, Mason's future is looking great. I could see him propelling himself into the mainstream with his next album, or another single like Hit. I'm truly excited to see what is next for Mason.